Hey everyone, how's it going? It is I, the real Randy Chavez, coming at you today with a OMI update video, and that's pretty much it because I was super chatted and they said, Randy, could you do a video helping restore hope in the OMI token and list all the reasons you still believe OMI is good and why the team is still behind it? So guys, if you're new, welcome. If not, welcome back. I love you all. Everyone say hello to Dashi. Hello, Dashi. Commenting, liking, and subscribing is a free way to help support the channel. Non-free ways are Patreon and smashing that super thanks button down below. And also, I do updates pretty much every day, and then live streams a few times a week. So yeah, subscribe for all the updates that VeVe has. But we're just going to focus on one thing, and it's going to be OMI. So there's a couple things to go over with this. I'm really just going to go over the catalyst. These are in no specific order. These are just all the things. I will start, though, with OMI to NFT, because OMI to NFT is the first thing we're getting. In the update that David had mentioned, he had mentioned that, well, he mentioned a whole bunch of things, like one of the things that he mentioned, which might not seem it directly correlates to OMI, is advertising. Well, how does advertising the VeVe app correlate to pumping the OMI token? Well, it doesn't directly, but indirectly it does. In a couple of weeks, when the app is a little bit more complete and we have VeVeVerse beta be rolled out, and OMI to NFT won't be until Q3 most likely, but at this point, when you have all of these things happening, you just get a lot more people getting used to buying VeVe NFTs. And at that point, crypto pay-in probably should be back, I'm hoping. And if it's not a huge deal, but you will get OMI to NFT at one point, and that'll most likely be in Q4. Well, that'll most likely be in Q3. The accessories might be into Q4. But if we're focusing on OMI to NFT, how does marketing help that? Well, if marketing happens for the VeVe app, like David says it's going to after the next couple of weeks, after the app gets fixed a little bit, then you have OMI to NFT happen. Okay, well, a whole bunch of users, probably a couple thousand, come to the app, and suddenly they have a new way to pay. You have those people that have a new way to pay, they're going to try it out. And then you have older people that have been on here for the past couple of years. Suddenly, they have found money. How is that money? Well, OMI you can't really do anything with right now. Excuse me. But if you have OMI on the app, you're going to be able to go and spend it. Recently, I have bought 3 million OMI recently, 2 million of which has been on the app. So I have 165 million OMI in general, much less than that on the app, definitely a fraction of that. And I will be buying another million during the week, also on the app. I want to get as much as possible because of the rewards that you're going to get for locking it up. It's essentially staking, but not staking, but I'll get to that in a minute. Anyway, OMI to NFT, the lower the price is, the more it burns. We are in the 000 area right now. In the same way that Doctor Strange says, we're in the end game now. We're in the 000 range now, and we have been for some time, and I don't know if we'll really get out of here anytime soon, at least within the next, couple months by the end of this quarter. So when we do have OMI to NFT and it starts, we're going to be burning quite a bit from the circulating supply. Also, on top of that, you are going to have the gem pool. So we right now have 310 billion OMI in the circulating supply, 5.5 billion of which are going to be lit on fire from the business development wallet. Now, why are they going to do that? Originally, they happen to have they wanted to have a fraction of the proceeds go towards buying back the OMI token, and then it kind of came out that, that would probably make us a security. They didn't want to do that, so they said, okay, we won't do that, but some of the proceeds that we have, if they would have kept to their word, they would have burned maybe like 1 billion OMI. Instead, David and Dan had said, okay, we're going to take like 5 times that, and we're going to just burn that from the business development wallet. Now, the business development wallet had about 20-something billion OMI in it. Let's just say 20 if we round down. After that 5.5 billion OMI that's going to be burned, okay, well, it's 14.5 billion left. The business development wallet at first was originally made so that they could sell some OMI to get some money in order to get licensors on board. Meaning that, hey, this licensor wants $1 million up front. They want $500,000 up front before we get the license. But if they're burning from the business development wallet, what does that mean? That means VeVe in general is flush with cash. They're still making millions of dollars a month. If you took a look at NFT NYC from 2022 to 2023, there are so much less projects that are out there in 2023, because in 2022, I called it, made videos about it, people that raised $1 to $3 million for these projects that didn't have a working product, they're gone now. They're done. They're dead. Kaput. And guess what? VeVe's still making millions each month in a bear market. No other company is doing this. That's very bullish for the OMI token, the fact that they don't have to sell their business development wallet. They don't have to put sell pressure on the token. And guess what? The other 14.5 billion, a good decent amount of that is probably going to get burned as well after this, just because, again, because they're making millions a month in a bear market means that they'll probably make tens of millions in a bull market in a few years. So anyway, that's one of the reasons why I'm pretty bullish on it. Another reason, OMI 2 accessory. In DCon of 2022, they had gone on and said phase 1 of the VeVeVerse will be your homeroom, which they had showed recently, and it's also going to be OMI 2 accessory. And most of that should be burned 100%. So whatever you have, let's say on your Todd Batman, you give him a little hat, you give him a little VV hat, you give him whatever, you give your Superman a little VV underwear, whatever they come up with, it's going to burn OMI. And that's just for OMI 2 accessory for your NFTs. That does not include accessories in the VeVeVerse, which if you've taken a look at the most recent community update, Dan Crothers, who had a customizable avatar, which we'll get to that a little bit later, that's not until phase 3, but he had I think a bonsai tree or like a little plant or a little tree inside of his VeVeVerse home. Now, that's not something that we can currently get in the app, unless you count Groot. Groot is kind of cool, and he's technically a little plant. Anyway, that's something that you're going to have in the VeVeVerse as well. But again, this is all just phase 1. Phase 2, which I do suspect we're going to try to get in Q4, is going to be IP branded worlds. So again, in phase 3, you're going to have OMI to NFT, probably going to have OMI to accessory, and then in phase 2 for Q4, you're going to have some IP branded worlds. Now, what happens after OMI to NFT? Once you have utility, you're probably going to get on some exchanges. I'm hoping for either KuCoin, Coinbase, or Binance, because I'm so confident in the team. I have a $5,000 bet going on saying that we will have at least one of those exchanges by the end of the year. I could be wrong and I could be out $5,000, or I could be right, which I'm betting on, and I'll have an extra $5,000. Now, speaking of bets, in 2024, I have a $10,000 bet going on saying that OMI will reach at least 1 penny at some point in 2024. Now, my price predictions, again, don't really mean anything. I don't have a crystal ball. It's just my assessment of things. And I've clearly been, I won't say wrong, but I've been early before. And just because I invest in something doesn't mean it'll go up, although I have a 100% track record on it. This is really just an opinion of mine. If OMI only goes to 0.99 cents by December 31st of 2024, I have to give someone $10,000. If it reaches 1 penny at any point in time in 2024, I get $10,000. Now, here's another reason why I think this is a valid argument. If you go and you take a look at CoinCodex, it says the Akomi OMI price prediction for early 2024 looks like a larger version of March of 2021, hashtag OMI, $OMI, Akomi, VV, etc. And if you take a look at it, the prediction that it's going on is saying that it can get almost up to 3 cents, and then it goes back down to about 1.2 cents. Now, I don't know exactly what they're using. I think they do use a lot of TA and they use a lot of charts and sentiment. But it's doubtful that the people that run this actually know what's coming for VV and OMI. A lot of people in the community don't know what's coming for VV and OMI. Now, even though we know what's coming, we actually don't know the time frame of it. They are playing very coy with it, which I do think is a good thing because they want to underpromise and overdeliver. But what they say is the current price is 0.00675. The price prediction, after it shoots up and comes back down, is 1.3 cents. The fear and greed index has it at 60% greed. The sentiment is currently bearish. It is pretty volatile. We have 47% green days as opposed to 53% red days. So it is down more than it is up. The 50-day SMA is 0.0076. The 200-day SMA is 0.0095. This is the moving average for those days. And the 14-day RSI is 42.32. So that's kind of what they're using for that price prediction. I do believe I was asked a couple months ago, in the next 12 to 18 months, where do I see OMI? And I said by this time next year, we'll probably be at a penny. By another 15 months, I think we could be at 2 cents. I think we could get up to 3 cents at some point. Because again, at that point, after the Bitcoin halving, you do start that. I do think we'll be on exchanges. And that's another thing that I had mentioned before is exchanges. We have about $700,000 in volume on any given day. Sometimes we have less, sometimes we have more. It's like a treat when we have 7 figures worth in volume and we have $1 million. Doesn't usually happen. But if it does, it's like, oh, hey, that's very good. It's a nice little sign of life there. But when you have exchanges and suddenly you go from $750,000 in volume a day to 75 million a day, that's 100x. And do we 100x in price because of that? No. But can we 6x in price on that? Sure. Can we 8x, 10x? Yeah, absolutely. So I think we do 10x at some point early next year before or I think even after exchanges. But anyway, that's not the only other catalyst that we have. Currently, you need to KYC in order to buy things. They want to have it so that you don't need to KYC to buy things. There's a whale that I have just, and more on whales in a second. There's a whale that I had just met a couple weeks ago. I got him to buy a little bit of OMI. He has like 1.8 million. He doesn't have a ton. He's very nervous about it. And that's the other thing. This person, if it was very easy to buy OMI, he'd probably have 10 million, 20 million, 50 million, whatever. But just because it's hard, I had to set him up with a Bit4x. I had to set him up with a Google Authenticator, and I had to set him up with a Trust Wallet. He's so confused. He's like, I can't just be on Coinbase. I was like, give it time. Anyway, on top of that, when we're taking a look at whatever I was just talking about, oh yeah, KYC. Eventually, KYC will only be needed for cash out. It'll only be needed to sell things. Currently, we're not doing marketing. We will be doing marketing when this is no longer needed to buy stuff. This will be very, very bullish. We're going to have a bunch of people from Asia on. That's where they're going to do next is localization. Dan Carruthers doesn't follow Funimation and doesn't follow Crunchyroll. And they, didn't just translate their Discord app to have Japanese stuff on there if they weren't about to do some anime stuff, if they weren't to localize into the East. But again, this is just my opinion. This is just how I'm interpreting the data. Not only that, you're going to have a wait list. So the wait list is something that's pretty much already done. It's already in the code in the app. They just need an app to do that with. Now, the wait list is really going to be for MCP points, but you're going to be able to increase your wait list points. A wait list is saying, hey, if you're in the queue for a drop, you have one entry. You can use some MCP points in order to go and get more entries. Now, you're also going to be able to use OMI. Now, I don't believe they're going to say like, hey, here's $100 worth of OMI, give me 100 seats. What they're going to have is most likely something like points. It was bronze tickets. They might change it where you get, let's say, this point. Every dollar's worth of OMI is a point. So even though you're not necessarily using OMI for waitlist spots, you're using OMI for points, and those points are waitlist spots. It's kind of like that episode of Zoe 101 where Logan is running Chase's presidential campaign, and he's giving out Chase bucks, and they're like, you can't give away money. He's like, we're not giving away money. We're giving away Chase bucks, which are not legal tender, but are redeemable at any school store. It's essentially the same thing that they're doing. They're just doing that with OMI and weight points or bronze tickets, whatever, as opposed to actual money. That's just kind of their way around it. And again, all of that OMI is going to be burned. I had a friend reach out to me. I'm going to be like the CIA. I'm going to black out some lines here saying, Randy, this is blank and blank's brother-in-law, blank blank. I met you at his house, and you helped me transfer my OMI to a secure storage. I have met him a couple of times, actually. Anyway, he says, I was reaching out to give you a quick update. I bought a VV logo today. I won't mention what number, but he did buy a VV logo. It says, and I deposited another $10,000 into Coinbase to buy more OMI. This will get me up to 212 million OMI. I'm starting to think that I have blah, 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 blah. Basically, long story short, yeah, he's got a lot. Now, he's a whale. There's 3 different groups of whales that I happen to know, one of which I straight up am an advisor for. A group of whales that have well over 1 billion OMI. There's another group of whales that I just happen to know. They're a bunch of OGs. I don't really have any influence over them. I just, give them my interpretation of things. There's another group of whales that I also don't have any influence over, but they have told me, hey, you're going to wake up one day and you're going to be a millionaire again, just because of the amount of OMI that they'll buy overnight. They're not going to buy it right now. They're going to wait for liquidity for exchanges. If they buy it right now, it'll take forever for their buy orders to fill. But big money. Anyway, he is not the only whale to go over and text me today. We had another whale text me and say, hey, I bought another 3 million OMI, bringing him up to 181 million, saying I might buy another 20 million or so, give or take. He really wants to get up to that 200 million mark. And he says, I'll let you know. And that is my goal by next year. If the prices stay down here, my goal is to have 200 million by the end of Q1 of next year. Even if I don't reach it and I have 197 or 195, that's fine. The goal is to get 170 million by the end of this quarter, although that might be up to 175 if I can really, really push it, and then 185 by Q3, so maybe 200 million by the end of this year. I have gone back to work. I am stretching myself really, really thin, so I'll see how this works out. Anyway, moving on. Anyway, price prediction. So the base case, I'll just be straight up. Base case for OMI in 2025 at the height of the bull run. Not that it stays there, not that it's going to be there forever, but the height of the bull run, I do believe 10 cents is my base case. Now, that being said, if we had no burns, that'd be a $31 billion market cap. Now, why do I think it can get there? Well, we have like 8 or 12x the amount of users as Decentraland and Sandbox combined. And with that, they had a $10 billion and a $9 billion market cap, respectively, at the height of the last bull market, including this next one that's coming up, which in the next bull market usually surpassed the previous highs by quite a good amount. Now, just because we had 8x the amount of users, does that mean we're going to have 8x the market cap of them combined? Again, for those of you that can't do math, that's a $19 billion market cap. So, but I think we could double it. Double that is 38 billion. So it's like, okay, I think $31 billion market cap with no burns is very reasonable. Now, like I said before, we're going to have 5.5 billion of that that's going to be burned straight from the VV dev wallet. On top of that, you're going to also have some burns from MCP and for OUP, and also you could easily have $100 million worth of burns from the VeVeVerse land sale. I mean, you had Terra Virtua, which raised like $79 million land sale. Nobody outside of Web3 knows who they are. Now, you can make the argument that nobody outside of Web3 knows who VeVe is, but you can be damn sure that they know who Disney are. You can be damn sure that they know Star Wars, they know all of these amazing comic books, they know Marvel, they know Universal, they know DC, they know Cartoon Network. Anyone that's going to have an IP-branded world, which I think is a fair argument to make that it's going to be a lot of our licensors, they're going to want some stuff there. Again, nobody knows who Terra Virtua is. Everybody knows who Disney is. Now, again, Disney did just fire their metaverse. So even if they say, hey, our metaverse isn't happening, even at that time, if they tap VeVe on the shoulder, hey, build a version of our metaverse in your VeVeVerse, I wouldn't really expect that for another like year. So I don't think that's going to be one of them that would show up in version 1 of the IP branded worlds, but I do think that could happen at some point in the future. But yeah, I think 100 million OMI or $100 million worth of OMI being burnt, that could be tens of billions of OMI. I think it's very possible that we are down to 250 billion OMI in the circulating supply at the height of the next bull market. Now that 10 billion or that 10 cent would give us a $25 billion market cap. So I think 20 cents at 50 billion is very possible. And even though I don't think we should go past there, I think maybe 15 cents is pushing it. 20 cents is going to be very hard. And logically, we shouldn't get past there. If you've ever met crypto degens, if you've ever met people that investing for the first time, they don't necessarily look at market cap. They just look at the price. You see us at half a penny? Oh, we can go to a penny. If you see us at 3 cents, we can go to 10 cents. You see us at 10 cents, we can go to $1. They're going to completely ignore the fact that at $1, it would be a $250 billion market cap, which I think is pretty impossible. I think we could all agree that. But again, people don't go with logic. They invest with emotion. They shouldn't do that, but that's what they do. And they're going to chase those green candles. And they're like, oh my God, you just, real Randy Chavez is now a decamillionaire because of this. He doesn't even have a bed and he's decamillionaire now. What could I make? And they're going to think they're going to get cute. They're going to try to time the market, and it's not going to work. A bunch of people are going to get left hanging. But again, I think this could become a meme coin. I think this could become very, very good in the top 20 crypto. And it's quite possible that you could reach 40 cents. It's a $100 billion market cap. Now, that is with the circulating supply at 250 billion. That is not including staking. That is not including the business development wallet, which might also get burned. And that is not including Dan and David's wallets. They have 30 billion each, give or take. If we take a look at the biggest things first, let's look at Dan and David's wallets. 30 billion each. Because they are extraordinarily wealthy from VeVe, they don't need to use any of that only. They don't need to sell. Let's say they do. Let's say collectively they sell 10 billion. And okay, well, now there's another 50 billion that is essentially locked up. So we go really from a 250 billion circulating supply to 200 billion circulating supply. And that's not including staking. You're going to have 5 different levels of staking. $2,500 worth, $5,000 worth, $10,000, $20,000, and $40,000 worth. Now, this is not going to include arbitrage, which we'll get to in a second. The staking that's going to happen, people are going to want that because there's a bunch of set chasers. And what I mean by that is people are going to want every single set that comes out. And if they can get free NFTs, again, because you don't want to become a security, when you lock up your OMI, you're not going to get more OMI. It's not going to happen. You're not going to lock up $40,000 worth of OMI, and you're not just going to get an extra like 5% yield, 8% yield. But you will get NFTs that are specifically designed for how much you lock up. If you lock up $2,500 worth, you're going to get a common NFT airdrop to you. If you have $5,000 worth, you get an uncommon and the common. You see where I'm going with this? $10,000, you get the rare, common, and uncommon. $20,000 worth, you get the ultra rare and below. And then if you stake $40,000 worth, you get the secret rare and below. So you get a full set. And there's not going to be a lot of people that are going to do that. Now there can be. You say, well, $40,000, that's so much. I only have $4,000 worth of OMI. I think that by the time we get staking next year, you're probably going to get that $4,000 is probably going to be worth $40,000. Just throwing that out there. Now, that's not including some deals you're going to be able to see on the app. Again, when people have found money, let's take a look at Penny from Big Bang Theory. The first thing she does when she sets up a website and gets a $2,000 order, what does she do? She goes to the laptop. She's like, I'm going to buy shoes. As soon as people have money, they spend it. In general, people are not good with money. If you have, let's say, $2,000 worth of OMI, and suddenly you have $20,000 worth of OMI, you are probably going to spend $10,000 of that. And they'll just be like, well, I could spend $10,000 and still have 5x the amount that I put into it. Guarantee you. Why? Because I know people. I've seen this before. A lot of people that get money that have never had it, they don't know how to use it. There's a learning curve to having money, and they're going to spend it. So what's going to happen? Whatever happens first, NFTs go up, OMI go up. I do believe NFTs are going to go up before OMI, but regardless of that fact, OMI will go up at some point. As these people have found money, they're going to take the money that they have on the exchanges. They're going to have it on their trust wallet. A bunch of people are not going to listen. They're going to try to send it directly to their OMI wallet on the VeVe app. They're going to lose that OMI. Why? Because all of the OMI on exchanges, on your trust wallet, on your ledgers, that's layer 1. The OMI that's on the the OMI that's on the OMI app, that's on the VeVe app, that is layer 2. You're going to have to go and take your OMI from layer 1 on exchanges, trust wallet, ledger. You're going to put it through a bridge. And after it goes through that bridge, after 24 hours or so, then it'll be layer 2. Then you can send it to your VeVe app. And by that time, a lot of the chance for arbitrage is probably going to be gone. So what are they going to do? They might send it back and pay those gas fees, or they might keep it on the VeVe app because it's such a pain in the butt to do that. And I think a lot of the stuff that's on the VeVe app should be considered locked up. So suddenly we go from 310 after taking all of these away, it could potentially be down to under $200 billion, 200 billion OMI. But again, these are just theories of mine. We have one more thing to go over. Now, I have gone over staking before, but that's just per person, per account. And I think you've had to have merged accounts by now. But anyway, if let's say Dashy has an account, or let's not use Dashy. Let's say I have a girlfriend, and her name is Penny Cat. Let's say Penny Longbottom. Let's say that's her name. And let's say Penny Longbottom is not really into the VeVe or OMI. Oh, hey babe, can I use your app? Take a picture of yourself, KYC this. Why would I do that? Why would I go? So I could send $40,000 worth of OMI into her account. Why would I do that? Why would you just give your girlfriend $40,000 worth of OMI? Well, you're not. You're using her account so she can stake for you, and you don't just have $40,000 worth of OMI locked up. Now you have $80,000 worth of OMI locked up, and because you want those additional sets. And once that happens, and people realize they could do this, they're going to get their brothers, their sisters, their friends, their moms. It doesn't matter. Why? Because if you have somebody with, let's say, $100,000 worth of OMI right now, like me, I have a little bit more, but let's just say $100,000 worth of OMI, and suddenly you have $3 million worth of OMI. Okay, you could take, let's say you have $4 million worth of OMI. You could use 10 accounts, and you could hold $400,000 worth of OMI in those accounts. Get all of these sets, transfer them to yourself, buy them for yourself, whatever happens. Whales are going to lock up a bunch of their OMI just because it's essentially free money. They're going to get, they're not going to sell all of it. They might sell half of their OMI stake. So if they have $4 million, they'll sell half. They'll keep $2 million, and out of that $2 million, you take 400,000. Okay, cool, 20%. And they go and they say, okay, now I'm getting 10 sets of NFTs every single quarter. That's 40 sets a year, not including if you lock it up for a full year, you're going to go and get a super set. You're going to get like a super major thing for locking up that much for a year. So essentially you are going to get 50 sets per year. That is free. You can sell it. It's free money. It's essentially staking without staking. Essentially, it's the most amazing, insane thing. This beautifully crafted thing that's going to happen. And as the amount of OMI goes up, you're only going to be able to de-stake. You can at any time, but you're going to have to burn a lot of OMI to restake in like the middle of the month. There's going to be select times for you to unstake, and some people will do that. Some people won't. They'll just roll it over, and that $40,000 worth of OMI could become $100,000 worth of OMI. And some people that go and take it out, they're going to have to pay a hefty penalty, and that penalty is going to burn OMI. So yeah, this is why I'm really bullish. You have a bunch of people that are smarter and more successful than me buying the token. You have a bunch of whales buying the token. In my opinion, this is one of the most extremely undervalued things in the world that I think will give me 100x from here in the next 2 years minimum. And again, this is not financial advice. This is just what I think is going to happen. Me and Dashy talk about it all the time. Anyway, guys, that's it for me. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Comments are good for the YouTube algorithm. Everyone say bye-bye to Dashy. Bye-bye, Dashy. I love you guys. Goodbye. Meow.